Happy Friday, Fayetteville, and hopefully everybody around the world who's listening in to the Natty State Six Pack.
National audience.
We're growing, baby. This thing is blowing up before our eyes. No, seriously, we hope it does. It's getting a little bit better every time we do it, though. But we're excited. We're back. It's the end of the week. We got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Natty State Six Pack of topics for you. I think we just need to get right into it, Andrew. You ready?
I think so. I was going to say, we always joke about, leading up to these shows, we're always like, man, what are we going to talk about? And then the show comes around and we have 37 things to talk about.
Yeah, I was going to say.
we end up actually doing the show, and then we're like, oh, dude, we forgot to mention whatever. I was trying to mention Love on the Spectrum. That was dead set on talking about that Monday, and I just completely forgot. So I had to run it back on Wednesday. That's the beauty of this show.
You got there. And we did have 37
to talk about.
We did have 37 topics that we wanted to hit on today. But I think we figured out a way to touch on maybe all of them, or at least most of them. So we'll see how that goes. Man, we got to take it from the top, though, dude.
This was the one thing we knew we were going to talk about when this was happening yesterday.
As soon as we saw this, it was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be on the six-pack. Also, let's start with this. Kayshon Boutte needs to be on the gambling show. We got to get him in there. I think you threw that feeler out there on Twitter yesterday. Great call. This dude is a fiend.
We might have to actually wait because he'll probably stop betting for a little bit right now. But in about 6 weeks, we need to make sure whatever gambling show we post that day, we need to tag him in that one. Because about 6 weeks is when he'll start having those withdrawals. March Madness will be heating up. You know he's dying to bet on Davidson to make the Sweet 16 or whatever it is. We're gonna throw him some stuff here.
The man's got issues, and so for those who are unfamiliar with what's going on or who this is, New England Patriot, former LSU Tiger, wide receiver, really good. Kayshon Boutte, he's got a gambling problem. I think that's fair to say. He was arrested yesterday. I missed that initially.
I didn't realize he got arrested.
I didn't realize he got arrested, but he's up on a felony count of computer fraud and a misdemeanor of gambling under the age of 21. And so this stems back over a 13-month span from in 2022 into 2023 when he was at LSU. Essentially, Boutte created an alias that way he could get around being an underage gambler. And he placed...
And the fact that he is Kayshon Boutte betting
also
on himself.
Andrew, he placed 8,900 wagers in 13 months. We did the math on it yesterday. That's 23 a day.
I was about to say, so I saw someone on Twitter say that it was 1 per hour without sleeping, and it pretty much is, right? Yeah. Now, obviously, the real gamblers know that you never place if you place 9 bets, you're not placing them 9 hours apart. You're firing those bad boys off. But my favorite one is that he had an 8-leg parlay, and the final 2 legs were him to score a touchdown and him to have 83 yards receiving against Florida State last year in the season opener when they got beat. Or was it? Yeah, it was last year in the season opener, and what's funny, Curtis, is one, he didn't hit either one of those bets.
I was about to ask
Did not catch a touchdown. I think he had 20-something yards. He also was inconsolable on the sideline. My buddy sent me a video of Jaden Daniels having to calm him down on the sidelines as the game is ending. And at the time, you just kind of are you know what, that kid cares. Anthony Black, he's just crying on the side because he cares. He wants his team to win. Turns out, maybe he just had a few parlays, and that was the game where he did not hit his own bets, and that's a tough one.
Yeah, and maybe he's got some Italian guy coming with a baseball bat to take out his kneecaps after that one.
We've all, who among us has not been there? But I thought it was fascinating. I didn't look at I didn't sift through all the information. I'm sure there was documents and whatever, but my buddy was telling me that his winnings were actually he was doing pretty solid. Yep. Which I guess is what raised the flags. When you see Kay Boutte placing a wager on Kay Boutte, that probably raises a little bit of a red flag.
I want to know what all he was betting on. I need to dive into that more. I don't know if that stuff is publicly available or whatever, but in the last story I read, it said that, out of those 8,900, there were at least 17 that were placed on NCAA football and at least a half dozen placed on LSU. And I don't know what he had, specifically you mentioned for himself or whatever, but dude, that is.
We've seen an uptick in this. We talked. Me and John mentioned Brad Bohannon, the Alabama coach, who got fired for the same thing. And it's Calvin Ridley obviously missed an entire year. It's crazy. Obviously you and I gamble. We all are placing bets, but it's I feel like if I was in the NFL, I wouldn't gamble. I think I would be okay if I were making actual money. I don't think I would be.
Yeah, I'd probably just be content with the money that I was bringing in on my multi-million-dollar contract.
Well, we always joke because, I have illegally gambled before. I mean, what Kayshon Boutte is doing, now that gambling is more legal, it's more accessible. But, like, when I was in college, I was under 21, and I was having to find ways to do it, placing $8 bets on whatever the Thursday night football game is.
Yeah.
If you're an actual athlete, an actual person of prominence, and you think you're going to be able to get away with it, like, I just don't find a way. Like, for instance, my dad texted me yesterday and asked me to place a bet for him. Just do that.
Yeah.
Just text your buddy and be like, hey, $50 or whatever. But I guess if you're placing 9,000 bets over the course of 13 months, that stems way deeper. I think this guy is he's a fiend, Curtis. He's a fiend.
Yeah.
By the way, Kayshon Boutte was kicked off the team at LSU for having a huge sex party in Atlanta.
Oh yeah,
right before the SEC title game.
Yeah, when he opted out, right, like the day before the game or whatever.
So what he did was he opted out, said he was gonna declare. He announced he was coming back to LSU. Actually, weirdly enough, had made this announcement after the SEC title game that they lost to Georgia and was like, I'm coming back one more year, going to be a senior. And then like a week later, he was like, actually, just kidding, I'm going to the NFL.
Yeah, that's right.
And he did not do the Isaiah Joe thing where he like genuinely like had a second decision and whatever and COVID. He just got kicked off the team and they were like, hey, we'll let you go to the draft and we won't tell anybody, but you got kicked off the team. If anyone wants to fact check me on that, you will not be able to find factual information on it, but ask around the Louisiana area. He got kicked off the team, 100%. So people in Baton Rouge knew he was sketchy. I don't think they knew that he was this sketchy, but,
So if we're talking about a man who likes to take big risks and is a sex fiend, that's a good segue into our next topic. Andrew, we both love the WWE, man. Like I think we were both big wrestling fans. I know I was. And,
massive.
like, Vince McMahon, he created an empire, and he was also a great villain, just within his character.
One of the best characters of all time, I would say. Vince McMahon and he is a character. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah,
I don't even mean that in a good way. I just mean like when he's on TV, the guy is playing a character. The WWE, that's how it all is, and we love that. Like you said, I was a huge wrestling fan, and we still talk UFC, obviously, and the UFC has kind of been our natural transition. But a lot of what we love about the UFC came from the WWE and those elements. So.
Turns out he's a bad guy.
We were never. Now, I don't think either of us were ever under the guise that we thought Vince McMahon was a stand-up guy. But Curtis, I can confirm for you, he is not a good man.
Okay.
Not only is he in trouble, this is a sex trafficking lawsuit. Were you aware? Sex trafficking.
I knew he was in trouble again. I purposely didn't read the information.
Well, by the way, I told Curtis not to look into it. I was like, hey, if you haven't heard the Vince McMahon thing, we have to talk about it, but do not look up the details because I wanted to get your reaction live on not television. We are not on television.
Maybe one day.
Somebody has us on a television as their listener. So it counts. We're on television.
Right. Okay.
Now I want to make it clear before I read this, Curtis. I am not making light of this situation.
Sure.
We are not poking fun. I am reading it because it is jarring to read. It's a notable person in sports entertainment, and I can't wait to see Curtis's reaction. So here's this tweet from an account called WrestleOps, who is pulling from the Wall Street Journal, who kind of released this hit piece on the sex trafficking lawsuit.
Okay.
So Janelle Grant was looking for a job with Vince McMahon back in March 2019. And then this says McMahon recruited people to have sex with Grant as well, including John Laurinaitis, the former head of talent relations, who you've probably seen on the WWE before. His son played in the NFL, huge WWE guy. The Stu states that in a May 2020 encounter, McMahon defecated on her head during a threesome. McMahon allegedly forcefully used sex toys on her, including dildos he named after WWE wrestlers, causing her bruising and bleeding. There's also some other stuff. There's some texts that he sent that were explicit. I'm not even going to read those because they're even worse than what I just said. Curtis, I want to hear your reaction to Vince McMahon pooping on a woman's head during a threesome and naming sex toys after WWE wrestlers and forcing her to use them.
Well, that's wow. That's crazy. Yes. About the pooping, is that a kink? Like,
we've heard of
when we were all younger, like we all saw like two girls, one cup or whatever, and that was
okay.
Really uncomfortable situation. But is
this sounds like the last 30 minutes of a John Neighbors show already?
Yeah,
it's already like immediately we've dove right into the deep waters.
We have.
There's always we've heard normally it's peeing on people. Normally that's
like the golden shower
you hear
thing.
about.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people who are into that. I've heard of wild.
Yeah, I've heard of like the glass bottom boat. I think you
glass bottom.
Well, yeah, like you have somebody get under like a glass coffee table, and then you drop your load on the coffee table. But this is like legit. Yeah, okay, that's too much.
I'll be honest with you. Like, I think the naming the sex toys after the WWE characters, considering that this is a guy who's the head of WWE, that is bizarre.
That's really weird. That's weird behavior.
Brock Lesnar's name was cited, by the way, as one of the toys. I'm just letting.
So that was a big boy.
Well, and I mean, Vince McMahon, it's kind of funny because, in the WWE, there's always these things of like, oh, this guy's, Triple H always kind of got accused of that, of like being a guy, like a company guy, of, oh, he's kissing up to the boss or whatever. Right. This adds another layer of that. And again, guys, we're clarifying, like, we're genuinely not making, this is a woman who was, a victim of horrible stuff. Like, I'm sure there's hundreds of other women who have been legit victims of this.
Allegedly, at this point.
Yes.
And I assume it's probably true, unfortunately, but.
Yeah, and I'm not like we don't even need to comment on any of that, but this is baffling stuff to read, and I feel like this slipped under the radar. I mean, like, you hadn't read that tweet that I just read you, but I'm like, I don't, people know that Vince McMahon's a bad guy, and I think people might have heard he's in trouble. It's crazy, and so if you want to go look up the Wall Street Journal has apparently a huge hit piece on it. You can go get the more details of it, but
that's crazy, and so
baffling.
And McMahon, didn't he? And this is like the second federal case, like lawsuit that he's taken on, and this one, if I understand right, from this woman, it's like it's like an extension of what has already happened. So didn't he step down last
2019, year? 2020, stuff like that. So I'd imagine a lot of this was kind of.
And so I think he stepped down from his perch last year, and then maybe he temporarily tried to come back or something. It was a weird deal, but I knew that there were some allegations to that nature.
I did not know.
Yeah, I did not know these details. That's nuts.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, billionaires, even if you get in trouble as a billionaire, I feel like Vince McMahon in 3 years will be back in the public eye, and he will be doing whatever. Like, he will buy the XFL again, or something will happen. So it's like, I feel like you never really go away once you get to a certain level. And Vince McMahon, for better or for worse, is absolutely at that level of like. He's kind of just a cockroach at this point. Like, I don't think we're ever going to be like the public until he dies. Like, Vince McMahon is going to. We're going to be hearing his name every now and then.
Right. I wonder how this is going to impact what's going on with the WWE. Like, I mean, it's obviously its own brand at this point, but that's nuts. I'm going to have to follow this and see what comes of it.
Well, going off of that same point, you remember around this same time last year, you remember the WWE and UFC merged under that one company or whatever, and then Dana White slaps his wife, gets on video. And at the time, it was like, oh, man, this is going to be a huge thing, and it ended up kind of not being a thing. This seems a little bit more serious than that, especially because it's been going on for multiple years, and sex trafficking is not the same as a small dispute. Which not making light of anything, but
jeez, dude.
Yeah, man, just absolutely crazy stuff. And I was like, you know what? This seems like six-pack material.
It's absolutely six-pack material. There is no limit to the amount of weird that we'll talk about. This might be the weirdest yet. Damn, Vince, come on, brother.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. But I knew it was jarring, and so I purposely made Curtis not read any of this so I could read it to him live and get his reaction.
And so, wow. All right, well, we're 2 beers down in the six-pack, and we've had some really good transitions from one to the other. So we're going from one sport or form of entertainment that's very much about
an
roid
entertaining
rage
combat figure doing crazy stuff.
And so let's talk about Conor McGregor's latest venture. I think, just like we were both WWE guys, I feel pretty confident in saying we're both big Conor McGregor guys.
Everyone should be a Conor McGregor guy.
So
man.
Entertaining.
And look, Conor's another guy who has some sketchy stuff out there, some allegations and some
that
whatever.
He does. Like, stay away from the Miami Heat games.
But we're not commenting on that. We're talking about the entertainment personality, Conor McGregor. Sometimes you got to separate the art from the artist. And with Conor McGregor, sometimes you do really, it's sometimes hard to find and sift through all the stuff. But
we won't talk about both things that he did at the Miami Heat game. But remember when he knocked out the mascot?
I do remember when he knocked out the mascot.
Legitimately knocked out the mascot.
Yeah, he had a wild night at the Heat game.
Yeah, he did.
It appears.
He did. That's tough. He's like a jack of all trades. He's like a modern day Shaq. You know, Shaq's just like got his hands in everything, and it's like,
dude,
always
Conor's
on this commercial, that
money
commercial.
On that whiskey, that proper number 12.
Proper number 12. He's got the Forged Stout, the beer, which I really want to try.
I want to go to that restaurant in Dublin.
Yeah.
Everyone says it's like crazy. Like, I mean, it's one of those like high class. Me and you can't afford it, but
Maybe
apparently
that
restaurant is pretty sick. So if anyone's in Dublin, go check it out. The Black Forge Inn, like that stout. I don't drink stouts.
I don't either, but I would. Yeah.
The people who do drink stouts say it's good, so I trust them. But Conor, man, like you said, we support all of his content, and that includes the movie realm. And Conor is, according to his Twitter account, he said he's the highest paid first-time actor of all time.
I have no doubt.
Again, I'm not going to fact check him. I'm going to take his word for it. He's never lied to me before. He definitely wouldn't deceive the public. That's not what Conor McGregor does. But he's making his acting debut in a movie called Roadhouse.
Remake. It's a remake.
Yeah.
And
look, I didn't see the original Roadhouse. Mm-hmm. I got to be honest, Curtis. I don't know. I didn't see the first one, but I love Jake Gyllenhaal and I love Conor McGregor. The trailer. By the way, if anyone has not watched this trailer, whether you don't even know who Conor McGregor is or whatever,
pause this right now.
Pause this right now. Come back. We'll allow you. We'll stop. We'll wait for you if you pause us. Go watch the trailer for the new movie coming out on Amazon called Roadhouse, featuring Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor. It looks like a load of fun. And look, we're not here to talk about the movie itself. I mean, we're just kind of. It just looks like a fun time.
It's going to be a banger, and I got to watch it right before we started recording, actually, because you told me about it yesterday, and I was like, I got to check that out, and then I just hadn't gotten to it. And then right before we started this, we delayed it for a minute because I was like, dude, I got to watch this trailer before it happens. That was insane. And you told me right before, you said, whatever you would imagine Conor McGregor's character to be in an acting role, this is it. And
well,
you're 100%
Conor
right.
McGregor. I'll be honest with you. Like, we talk about guys being characters, and Conor is a character, but it's like in this movie, he seems, I'm not even 100% sure that this was an acting job by Conor. I mean, we've seen videos of him punching old guys in the bar before. I think they just filmed Conor on a night out, and he had a few of the Booga Sugar, and he was ready to roll, man. But it looks like it's fun. So for anyone that really wants to know about the plot premise, apparently Jake Gyllenhaal is like a disgraced UFC fighter. They actually filmed, I remember, back in March, I remember them filming the movie, and they came to a UFC event, I guess it was UFC 295.
I remember that.
But they had a whole thing. Conor came out and talked, and they did stuff at the weigh-ins, and they got Gyllenhaal in there to film a scene.
Jake's got some hands.
Yeah, he's got some. Yeah, I see him. All these MMA accounts will be like, "Who's y'all's favorite fighter? Here's mine." It'll be like him in the weigh-in because he looks like a fighter, man. Yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal also one of my favorite actors of all time, though. If we're just talking movies, all of his roles are bizarre sometimes. Like he goes all in on these roles, and so it's like he was in that movie Southpaw where he was a boxer, and he kind of became this drugged up boxer, and he was great in that. I think he's going to be awesome in this. But yeah, apparently he's like a disgraced UFC fighter who now gets hired, is like sleeping in his car and gets hired as a bodyguard at a roadhouse.
I think that's right.
I think it's generally, and then kind of finds himself in the process and joins the community and apparently fights Conor McGregor multiple times. I saw a few different scenes. Conor shirtless, Conor in the pub. It looks. It's going to be a fun time. And again, if you followed our instructions and paused and went and watched the trailer, you probably agree. Looks like it's going to be awesome. But we had to mention that because we love Conor and because.
So yeah, like not to spoil some more content that's coming up here, but Andrew and I are going to get Mike Neighbors, known movie critic Mike Neighbors, also the Arkansas women's basketball coach. We're going to get him in here. We're going to watch this together. It was a big win last night. Yeah, it might have to be after the season, but this doesn't come out until next month anyway, right?
Yeah, I think it's like mid-March. Like something. It's a little bit of time.
Perfect. Yeah. So when their season ends, we're gonna get Mike in here. We're gonna watch it together, and we're gonna critique and we're gonna review this film.
I should have mentioned also. I forgot the director's name. Should have pulled that up if I were a good journalist like I used to be. But the director really wanted a theatrical release for this movie, the Roadhouse remake.
Yeah.
Was told by Amazon they were going to make it happen, and then they kind of backtracked on their plan. And so the director of this Roadhouse movie that I just hyped up is protesting their own premiere because he's so mad at Amazon for not putting it in theaters. And so, if you want to support the director, just watch it on Amazon. And I don't know how you would go about relaying that message, but we're gonna do what we can to support the movie. We're gonna watch it on Amazon. It looks like it's gonna be a fun time, and I probably wouldn't have gone to see it in theaters if I'm being 1,000% honest. But it'll be fun. But I thought that was funny that the director is not even going to show up to the own premiere. But
I love it. Well, Andrew, we're halfway through this
already?
6-pack, man, which is awesome. I mean, it feels good. We're rolling right along here.
By the way, all the beer companies out there listening,
come on,
we will drink open invitation, whether it's whoever. We will drink your beer on this program if you send us the beer. We're not going to go buy the beer and drink it, but if you send us the beer or you reach out to us, we will drink your beer on our program, and we will actually put down a 6-pack.
We will come to your place of business and record this show.
And Curtis knows 100%. I'm not a huge beer drinker. If I drink 2 or 3, that usually means I'm wilding that night.
Yeah, I mean, if realistically, like if we're doing a 6-pack,
You're gonna have to drink 4 of them.
I feel like I'm 4 of them. Yeah, and that's okay.
Between the two of us, we could drink a 6-pack.
Oh yeah.
I drank 3 the other night,
and we could do it in the half hour to 40 minutes as this show usually lasts.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I would advise that.
Yeah,
we'll have
do it.
My wife will drive us home. Like, we're safe. Okay, we'll take an Uber. It's fine.
Pre-noon while we're recording this. I mean, we recorded on Sunday night that one time, but we're usually recording this in the morning too.
Yeah,
but
pre-happy hour. It's whatever. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about us. We'll be
just
okay.
Get a fake job like us, and you can join us.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but we are halfway down.
We are halfway down. Let's talk about our guy.
Yeah, man.
Okay, RC4 Ricky Council IV. How about this? Like, he has taken, the challenging path. He didn't get drafted. I legitimately thought that Council was going to get drafted at the end of the season. Sure. For a minute there, I thought maybe he was going to come back to Arkansas, but he had really started popping up on draft boards. Some people even had him like as a late first-round pick. He slipped. He wasn't great at the combine, but you can't ignore his athleticism. He didn't get drafted, but he was quickly picked up, an undrafted free agent. 76ers. He got a look last night, man, and he was cooking. Did you get to watch any of that?
I got to watch the highlight videos on Twitter, which is
that's all we need.
And you mentioned the athleticism. That was like the first thing, like just seeing, because like Ricky is a very specific. Like, there's not many players that like move the way he does, and I don't mean like he's like a generational athlete. I just mean his mannerisms, the way he shoots, the way he drives. Like, he's a unique athlete, I would say. And so it was really fun to watch him like out there on an NBA court doing some of the same stuff that we fell in love with him for, and watched him do it at Arkansas. But I pulled this up because his game log. So this was his 4th NBA game that he had played in. Mm-hmm. All of the other ones, I mean, he had played 6 minutes in his debut, went over 1 from the floor, did not record a stat, played 2 minutes in his next game, recorded a foul and a point, went 1 of 2 at the line, played 1 minute in the next one. So last night he plays the entire 4th quarter, 12 minutes. And gets 11 points let's see, 3 of 6 shooting. Does that sound right?
Yeah, he hit a 3
of 6 shooting, hit a 3, went 4 of 6 at the line. Also grabbed his first career rebound.
Yes,
and logged his first career steal.
Yeah, I think 2 of his baskets were and ones.
Yes, I think like 2 and ones. Man, it was just like, again, like not the type of performance that like Sixers fans are gonna write home about. I mean, they were down by like 27 in the game. They ended up losing by 12 to the Pacers.
Whatever.
Without Tyrese Halliburton, which is kind of interesting. It was a weird game where the Sixers, I guess they just mailed it in, but good to see for Council. And look, who knows if that's going to end up getting him a like everyday roster spot or whatever. But people watch that stuff. People that stuff can usually that's huge. And it was good to see him playing hard and just looking good out there. Man, he looked like an NBA player for sure.
He did. It made me so happy to see. I think back to the NCAA tournament last year, and Ricky, he had his ups and downs. His one season at Arkansas, but he was pretty consistently a guy that they could count on to score. But I just remember, I feel like we were able to develop our best relationships with those guys at the tournament because the locker rooms were open. And so we would get to go in there and talk to those guys after practice, after the NCAA tournament games. And it was just, I don't know, it just gives you a unique perspective. And it really stood out to me the entire time. Is like every time we talked to Ricky at the tournament, he was just like, this ain't always been easy, but like this is it. Like this is the dream come true. Like I can't believe I'm here.
I remember that clip of him talking about that.
He's just like it's unreal. Like it's just everything that I wanted when I came here. So you really felt good about it. And I felt terrible when he didn't get drafted, even though whether you get drafted, 57th or you get picked up right after the draft as a UFA, like that really doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But it's just so cool to see him get in there and do the things. And, we've talked about it, maybe not on this show, but like on others, about how, like everybody in the G League is putting up ridiculous numbers, literally everyone. And he was one of them. Like he's scoring a ton of points. Like he's making a bunch of threes, which I'm glad you're doing that now, dude. But in all seriousness, you just never really know how that's going to translate. Right. And so then, like it's cool for Arkansas, man. Like in the last couple weeks, like Jordan Walsh makes his debut. He's the best rebounder
of all time. And now apparently Ricky Council's the best 4th quarter scorer of all time. I mean,
exactly.
11 points in the 4th.
Yeah, and so you add those guys to Nick, who's coming along, AB, who's been solid for
a
the
really
Magic.
Good team. The fact that AB is even playing at all on that team is impressive.
And so Muss has mentioned it like recently here, and obviously the Razorbacks, they stink this year, but he's he had not up until this point said like, we are replacing 4 guys who played in NBA games this year, and last year was kind of a mess in its own way. But he's got a point, and like it doesn't matter who you bring in. Like there's still some really, really good basketball players who are representing Arkansas at the best way you can do it. So good stuff.
I don't think
man.
This current team has 4 NBA guys on it. I'll just tell you that right now.
Do they have one? Brazil?
Maybe Brazil. Brazil will play in an NBA game. We can talk about Brazil all we want.
Yeah,
but,
whatever.
We're not going to do that because we like to support the Hogs around here. We like to support our former Hogs. And Curtis, my favorite way to support Hogs.
How's that?
I go over to Alumni Hall is what I do.
Great place to go.
I go to Alumni Hall because you know why? They have the best, most extensive, the largest selection of Razorback gear, apparel for the men, the women, the children, as Anakin Skywalker says. You won't get that, but everyone else will. Alumni Hall, we love them. We love them here on our show. They have all the greatest brands, Nike, Columbia, Cutter & Buck. If you want to support us, the Hogs, and Alumni Hall, you can go to Natty State, www.nattystatesports.com/Alumni Hall. Had a little bit of link trouble. We got our link set up. That's the link, www.nattystatesports.com/Alumni Hall. Support the Hogs, support Natty State Sports, support Alumni Hall. They do great work. I'll tell you what Alumni Hall has. All of the Razorback baseball hats. The yellow one that everyone loved, the camo one, the black one that I see DVH wearing all the time that everyone always is like, how do I get that one? The charcoal, if you will.
Yeah.
And your traditional red, and who knows what hats they'll wear. But if they have it, if Arkansas wears it, Alumni Hall has it. Got the best selection of Razorback gear. Go check those guys out and go support them. You know who else probably wants something from Alumni Hall as long as they have cutoffs? Bill Belichick. He's a big cutoff sweater guy. He likes to cut them off himself.
Yeah.
So Alumni Hall, you might have to start selling some stuff, especially if he's going to be the head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks, which
that might be his only option.
Isn't off the table because he is unemployed at the moment.
Are they freezing my man out?
They're squeezing him out, man.
What's going on here?
What's interesting to me is I think it's funny. So I saw Clay Travis. I don't know if you saw his tweet storm last night. Clay Travis sucks, by the way. Anybody who listening to this, Clay Travis sucks. But he was trying to play the reverse racism card of if he were black, he would have a head coaching job, and everybody would be talking about this. I look, it's weird that Bill Belichick, if he really is trying to get a job that he doesn't have one, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Bill Belichick was not dying to be the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. And I know he met with them and he did whatever. It doesn't surprise me that Bill Belichick is not the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Who knows if he even coaches again? I think all these coaches or if nothing else, he might just take a year off. I don't think he's in a rush, dying to get a job anywhere.
Sure.
So I think he's probably going to wait for the right situation, like Sean Payton thought he was doing when he took the Denver job, took his year off.
I think that's exactly right. To me, Belichick and Atlanta never made sense because let's be honest here, he's not going to be a long-term solution anywhere. He's the kind of guy who needs to go and be, the short-term answer for a team that's built to win now. Go to Dallas or whatever and be there for a couple years and see if you can get him a ring. I think that's his situation.
He doesn't need to mold Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke into the next great quarterbacks. That's not what Bill Belichick's. So Curtis, but basically what you're saying is there's more nuance to these things than what we see on paper, and so people freaking out on Twitter over everything are probably overreacting. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. That's 100% what I'm trying to tell you. And I saw some other things out there too about how maybe some front offices were turned off by just the thought that he would want the exact same situation he had in New England, which is total personnel control and everything else.
Another very big factor of this whole thing where people always do these hypotheticals. Oh, this team should hire him. It's Bill Belichick was the president, GM, coach, and owner of everything.
He was the Jackie Moon of the Patriots. He did it all, man.
He was singing "Love Me Sexy" at pregame. He had his own song and everything, guys.
Remember the time he wrestled a bear?
Exactly. If you're gonna hire Bill Belichick, it entails all of that. So I think that's why we're kicking our feet. But I think he should do what everyone does, which is take the leap year. Or take the gap year where you're studying abroad.
Figure out what
Dan Mullins enjoyed his so much, he's just going to keep going.
Right.
But Sean Payton did that. I feel like Urban Meyer loves to do. He does it every 3 years. Take the year where you do TV, you do your TV spots, and then in that year you will become more loved by random fan bases than you realize. Bill Belichick, you'll get floated around for the Arkansas job. By the way, shout out to our boy Wade Hogs. I forget who it was. He tweeted at us and said, "Bill Belichick head coach." Bobby P. staying at OC. I forget it. I guess I don't remember who he said the DC was going to be, but Pittman's going to stay on staff as the director of recruiting.
Great.
Who says no? Who says no?
Not me.
Yeah.
I'm in, man. I'm in. Absolutely love it. Listen,
but we need Bill Belichick to not take an NFL head coaching job this year, so that all season we can do that.
Yeah,
we talk about, hey, you want to go to Bill Belichick wants a situation where you can go right in and win a title. If that's not Arkansas Razorbacks in the football program, I don't know what is.
Exactly. Oh, I cannot wait to be, the first place that puts him at the top of the hot board for the coaching search when it comes, when it inevitably happens. So we're
him and John Gruden and Jimmy Johnson. I mean, just the whole
all those
crew.
Guys, all of them.
Get them all.
And so we're down to the final beer of the six-pack, and like we said at the beginning of the show, we had so many topics. Like, it was impossible to really narrow this down to 6. So maybe instead of a beer, like, we're taking just a few shots before we go get the party started. We're going to go with a Friday flurry here.
This is vinegar in here, guys.
Yeah.
It's not water.
Yeah.
This is vodka and vinegar mixture. So we're going hard over here, boys. If you see me sipping, that's what... Just know.
Yeah, just watch. Keep an eye on Andrew, and when I'm talking and he takes a sip, just watch his facial expression. Yeah. You'll see that mouth curl a little bit.
You'll see me doing the thing where I'm staring at the ground, trying not to throw up. That little move.
Yeah,
exactly. By the way, that's me every time I'm anywhere where I'm forced to take a shot. That's what I'm the one that I was like, let's not do another one, guys. Come on, relax.
I think I'm past that point in my life too, man.
Curtis, I know where we need to start on this flurry. We need to get to the most important topic first. A young man in Sparkman, Arkansas, not named Scotty Bordelon.
Or Pinto, yeah. Somehow, me and Curtis know half of the Sparkman population, but we don't know this guy, but he won $50,000. Was that right? Did I read that correctly? $50,000. He hit the lotto.
What was it? It was like, I mean, that's not, I don't know what lotto it is. That's $50K, but it's obviously not like the Powerball. But
yeah, I don't know if it was like a cool scratch off or what it was. We need to get, where's Scotty? I don't know. We should get him in here to give us the details.
That we probably should have read more, but yeah, someone in Sparkman won $50,000 yesterday.
Yeah.
He looked like a good lad.
But apparently, I don't guess Scotty knows him directly.
Which
but maybe,
again is crazy.
That is kind of crazy. But maybe he works at the same, like the sawmill in town that his family owns or runs, or there's some sort of connection there. Anyway, what I'm saying is, whoever you are who won hit the lotto, buddy. There, congratulations. Throw Scotty a few bones. It's fine.
I mean, the pride and joy of Sparkman. I mean, we might as well.
Right. Listen, the parking tickets are starting to pile up. So
yeah, that was crazy. How about the Fayetteville Square just yesterday of all day just randomly decided to start enforcing parking tickets? We've been
parking here for a month.
We've had this company up and running for weeks now. Now I guess the snowstorm is what threw us off the scent, but yeah, it just randomly slapped us with parking tickets yesterday. It's like, they clearly don't know who we are. I mean,
come on, man. What the hell's going on here?
We'll tell someone's boss and we'll get them fired. But.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Yeah. We've been getting a lot of, we've kind of thrown it out there like, hey, if you got something you want us to talk about, hit us in the chat, hit us in the DMs, let us know. We've gotten a lot of floods in about, I want y'all to talk about something besides Razorback football, basketball, and baseball. Like, there are other good teams in Arkansas, whether it's the Razorbacks or whether it's some other places in the state. So why don't you hit me with the on-campus folk? Like, who's standing out to you on campus? And I got a couple.
Well, so we mentioned Mike Neighbors had a big win last night. Did they beat Kentucky? Did I make that up?
No, you didn't make that up. It happened.
Did they beat Kentucky last night? Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, hey, today the managers, by the way, they're playing today against Kentucky. Could Arkansas go for the sweep? The women's win on Thursday. The managers win tonight. Arkansas win tomorrow? No. But the women did their part. Kept them kind of alive. I think they're firmly on the bubble. Like it's gonna come down to the final weekend for them.
I don't have their SEC record right in front of me, but they're 15-6 overall, and they've had some. Here, I'll give the women's basketball team credit here because they've had to play without Talia Scott, who's a freaking baller, by the way, for a handful of games here. And they've really responded the right way. Like they got beat up on at LSU, but whatever. Like that's going to happen.
Again, by the way, LSU covered last night for anyone listening to the gambling show.
Exactly. But that's a tough pill to swallow there. And man, like they've played hard and they've responded and they've done well, more than you can say for Arkansas without Tremont Marks.
At the absolute very least, this is what the women's team has done. They've made it to where down the stretch is going to be pretty interesting. You know, every game of hey, are they gonna get their spot in the bubble, or are they gonna fall off, or like what's gonna happen? Like. We'll at least have to watch these games and really pay attention on the stretch because they're playing for something. Arkansas basketball team, they can't even play for pride, man. The men's, it's
tough,
a tough
scene. Hey, my wife's doppelganger, Jordan Weaver, her gymnastics squad they are rolling.
Dude, by the way, that's another one where like I've been meaning to touch on it on the six pack.
Yeah.
So the gym backs, who I love, you've consumed gym back content with me before.
We went there together last year for this what's actually happening tonight, and it was awesome. So
and Suni Lee from Auburn is going to be in town. So even if you hate gymnastics or if you hate Arkansas and you just like gymnastics, Suni Lee, Olympian, I mean, she's worth the price of admission. which isn't much. Go support the gym backs, man. That's a fun time. Anyone who's like got kids that's looking for like a fun family night tonight, go see the gym backs tonight. They're gonna have a fun time. They had their second best season opening score in week 1. Mm-hmm. I believe it was over 197, like 197.3 something. Then last week they followed up with the program record. They tied Alabama at Alabama.
That's a big deal.
You know, for those that don't follow gymnastics, Arkansas doesn't really do that much. Arkansas is usually pretty solid in gymnastics, but Arkansas is legit. I don't know where they're ranked now. 4. Yeah, they're in the top 5 for sure. Like, and their scores have been awesome. They're a fun group to watch, and Jordan Weber's done a good job there. I mean, they haven't. Some people I think have been like waiting for them to take that like next step. I don't know if they're going to remain in the top 5, but this seems to be their best team that she's had.
Yeah,
they're going to be fun to watch all year, and like they got some dogs, man.
I mean, as of right now, they're number 4, and Auburn has an Olympian. They're number 13. So
right,
I'm just saying,
Suni Lee, take that.
Yeah. So what's up?
Suni Lee, hit the portal.
Yeah.
But shout out to Jensen Scalzo, best bar routine of all time. Best bar routine of all time.
Yeah.
She's been cooking. She's the one consistent. You can count on Jensen Scalzo is going to hit that bar routine.
Absolutely love it. I've got 4.
Yeah, there's a big state. We got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, 4 non-Razorback teams to hit on here. You brought this to my attention, and I don't know who brought it to yours, but Little Rock Wrestling, man. Euler, not Little Rock the city, Little Rock the college. Top 25 in the country. Yeah. When I was in school at Lindenwood, like wrestling was a huge deal, and that's also a little bit closer, like Big Ten country, where it's really crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember covering nationals one year. It was at the Dome in St. Louis, and that's crazy. It's intense. Like some of those schools, Iowa and whoever, like it's wild, man. Missouri.
Have you seen the video of, I think it was Iowa, of like the mom of the guy whose son
like
finally
her
lost,
glasses,
and she's like ripping it, and
they're about that life, dude. So
those wrestling parents are psychos, man.
Yes,
so, yeah,
and so it's a lot of fun. And so listen, man, for Little Rock, and there's not that much wrestling once you get as far south as Arkansas. So for them to be in the top 25, man, that's really impressive. So kudos to them.
I'm pretty sure, someone fact check me if I'm wrong on this, I'm pretty sure Bryce Mitchell, the UFC fighter from Texarkana, from Searcy that we love, every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas, the camo shorts. I'm pretty sure he trains at the UALR wrestling team. Like, he trains with those guys because obviously he's a great grappler. He trains with those guys. So it's cool to see maybe his wisdom has risen them to this point. Maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. But credit to the Trojans. They're nice on the mats.
Yeah. And they're nicer than my alma mater on the hardwood too, because Little Rock,
dude, Lindenwood sucks, man.
They do suck, dude.
No matter what sport, Curtis, because I've been keeping track of Lindenwood since I became buddies with you.
Yeah.
By keeping track, I mean when I scan the box scores, I see their name and I go, oh, Lindenwood. But they lose every night. Like literally, no matter what sport it is, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, whatever, Lindenwood loses their game every single game.
It's brutal, man. And they're, I guess, in fairness to them, like they're in that transition period from D2 to D1, so. Like, they're not eligible for any postseason. So I know that makes it hard on recruiting. I think that's a stupid rule, by the way.
Why would you want to make it as hard as possible for schools to transition? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all. But, and especially with hoops, man, like, that's
football,
tough.
Every now and then you see somebody come in and they're, like, competent the first year. Like, James Madison. Was it James Madison who literally did it this year?
Yeah.
Every now and then you see that, but it's like, like you said, how do you get people to come on board? It's like, hey, especially now that everyone's only at their schools for a year or two. It's like,
come play here just to play here.
Do that?
It's tough. But Little Rock got them. I think it was 80-66 the final. I did look at Lindenwood's record, and I think they're either 7-11 or 8-11. So they've actually won more games than I thought. But then I went and looked at it,
more than I thought, honestly.
And a good handful of those wins are against like NAIA schools that they were in the conference with when I went to school there.
Like,
so,
bump their ratings down when they win by 50.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're looking at.
Do you remember Missouri basketball played like Louisiana College or something like that? Like,
they played Lindenwood last year.
Regular season.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, they played. I remember, I think it was Hutch and a Missouri writer
Andrew
that
Hutchinson?
I know. Yes, his name's Matt Harris. But they played Paul Quinn College. Missouri did last year. That's an NAIA
That's what I was
school.
thinking of. I was like, dude, they played it, and it was like in the regular season. It wasn't an exhibition,
right? And Hutch was teeing off about it, and they were like going back and forth in their in each other's mentions about it. And the guy's like, well, Paul Quinn's head coach he's a figure on the EYBL circuit. And like, no, just don't play those teams.
Any sports fan who starts trying to hype you up on the team that just beat his team, they're like, dude, I'm telling you, those guys, their defense, I mean, it's like,
yeah, come on,
your team
man.
sucks when you start doing that.
Yeah. But like, speaking of teams that used to be in the conference that I was in, like when I was coaching at Lindenwood Belleville, we were in the American Midwest, and so it was a bunch of schools from Missouri and then a good handful of schools from Arkansas. So we were down here all the time. But Central Baptist College in Conway, those dudes are rolling this year. So
like the number one.
Well, not them.
No, not
so that's
them,
another
not
one.
them.
And
That's
so
another
they're NAIA, but they're 16-4. They're undefeated in the AMC, which is the conference I coached in. And so that's a really solid team. And that's a tough place because they kind of roll through coaches. It's one of those places where, for whatever reason, you come there and you always have a winner, but then somebody else plucks your coach. And that's happened to them like 5 times. But, man, they just keep figuring it out and winning a bunch of games. So shout out to them. I think they've won like 7 in a row.
Level?
They are the VCU of that level.
For a while,
and they kind of played that style when I was coaching against them. They just had a bunch of athletes, and they were pressing you. It's a little cracker box gym, dude, and it gets loud in there. So it's an intense place to play. But who you're referring to, because somebody hit us, and it was the first comment we got, and we said, hey, what do you guys want us to talk about? Somebody was like, oh, there's a junior college basketball program in Arkansas that's #1 in the country in JUCO. Facts.
Like, did not know that.
That's a fact.
Like, seriously, like that's
yeah, dude.
That's
Looked
awesome.
it up today. National Park in Hot Springs. They're 15-0, #1 in the country. Man, good for them.
JUCO
Shout out
Hoopers.
to y'all.
Hop in the portal.
Yeah, exactly. Get in the portal. Come to the northwest corner of the state. Come to the SIP.
Also, I hate to bring it back to the 3 major sports, but I feel like we've cycled. Is there any other like state of Arkansas or teams that are doing well that we forgot to give their love to? I'm sure there's someone, really. But I mean,
I want to say, I hope this isn't fake news, but I want to say I saw Vilonia, which is our fearless leader Branson's, his hometown. If I heard correctly, they did a basketball sweep over Parkview.
Oh wow,
that seems like a big deal. Yeah, so I might need to go back and fact check that, but I'm almost positive I saw that. So if that's the case, shout out to Vilonia. But no, that's all I got.
We've had a lot of comments on the show that need to be fact checked. So we could just be spouting complete incorrect.
That's whatever. If it's wrong, hopefully it's entertaining. It's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and we'll find out.
Yeah,
they'll yell at us, but we did get to hear from DVH though yesterday, which I was very happy about. And get to hear from DVH again today because I'm going to go watch the boys scrimmage. The weather did not turn out to be as good as it was supposed to be.
Yesterday, warm up though.
Do you remember when I checked my phone yesterday and I was like, dude, it's going to be like 58 and sunny, like all this. And then I check it today and they just backtrack completely.
Yeah, it's just like our 5th day of intense fog for whatever reason.
Crazy fog. Yeah. And plus, we're in this penthouse, so we're high up and we can see the fog rising.
Sure.
But I'm really excited for baseball season, obviously. I mean, I think a few people are starting to get there. Even people who don't even like baseball are about to be like, hey, I got to watch baseball now because this basketball team sucks. But the baseball team scrimmages today. By the time this goes out, people will probably it'll either be there or it'll have already happened. And so if that's the case, we'll have some updates on that. But I'm really excited about Diamond Hogs, man. I'm back in that mode.
Good.
I'm starting to sniff the Cracker Jacks a little bit.
There we go.
The dirt and, it's just – baseball's coming. It's coming soon, Curtis.
Good. No, I'm looking forward to it.
A lot of stuff going on in sports this weekend, though. I mean, we got NFL this weekend. I did one thing I had written down I wanted to touch on. The NBA has been interesting this year. So the Lakers won last night, thank God, which got them to 23-23. The Warriors, 19-23. They lost last night with Moses Moody out. They probably would have won with them.
Did you see that thing with their assistant coach?
What did he do?
Like
the Warriors assistant?
Yeah, like passed away at a team meal or something. And
wait, passed away?
Yeah.
Died?
Yeah.
I did not see this.
Then like Klay Thompson, those guys were crying before the game or something like.
No, I completely flew under my radar.
Weird stuff, man.
My radar's not too big, so it's not hard to do. But man, well, maybe that's what turned the tide for them. They made a comeback and tried to take the lead late, but they lost by 1 to the Kings. So the Warriors somehow have played 4 less games than the Lakers, but the Warriors, it says they're 2 games out, despite the fact that they're 19-23 and the Lakers are 23-23.
Okay.
Somehow that equates to 2 games back, but the Warriors currently not going to make the postseason, which is kind of fascinating. Maybe play Moses Moody more, Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
When he's healthy. He wasn't healthy last night, but when he's healthy, maybe play him.
Stop hanging on to the glory days.
Curtis, off the top of your head, who do you think are the top 2 seeds in the NBA Western Conference?
Denver?
Incorrect.
No. Wow.
I think close to us.
Oklahoma City
They're the
Thunder.
2 seed. They are the 2 seed in the West.
Wow.
And the 1 seed, Anthony Edwards, Abortion Anthony, and the Timberwolves. They're number 1. They're the number 1 team in the NBA. They won last night.
I love that.
Isn't that crazy, though?
That is kind of wild.
We went through a stretch in the NBA where it was like the same teams were at the top every year. Now you check the standings every week, and they change drastically. But the Suns, I believe, are 5. I think Denver's 3. So some of the usual suspects are kind of there. But, yeah, the young guns are rising up and taking over. So I think it's going to be kind of fat. We could hypothetically have a world where the Lakers and Thunder play in like a 2-7, 1-8 type of playoff series.
Oh, that'd be fun,
I mean, we'd have to go up there to see LeBron and AD play in Oklahoma City.
Oh, that'd be
We
awesome.
say that like we just go to Oklahoma. We go to playoff games all the time, but we would do it for this.
We'd do it. We'd figure it out. Who's number 1 in the East? I know the Bucks, who just fired their coach.
I think the Celtics are still number 1 in the East.
Still number 1.
But the Bucks won by 10 the other night. They had a great win in game 1.
The Dockless, or was he there?
I think they had the interim coach that game. It was last night or 2 nights ago. So I bet it wasn't Doc, but now Doc is their coach. The raspiest voice in NBA history, but we'll see. This is going to be the time Doc gets over the hump, I'm sure. He definitely won't lose in the second round in embarrassing fashion. It's not going to happen.
Hope not.
Yeah. Well, Curtis, anything else? Anything else we need to touch on?
No, man. I think we're good. I'm excited for you to get out there to the baseball scrimmage. We've got and listen. I'm not excited about this basketball game tomorrow, but I am excited about College Game Day. Like, that's cool,
that
man.
will be
So
cool.
I'm looking forward to going down there and just taking it all in, seeing those guys on stage, seeing what's going on. So
it took us until yesterday at like 3:30 for us to even consider the fact that like we would go to College Game Day. We were like, I guess we'll go. I mean, you know, might as well.
Yeah,
but,
so at the very least, it'll be fun. I don't know, man. Like, I hope Arkansas shows up and at least puts forth a good effort. But at any rate, it's still cool to see him finally coming to Fayetteville, and hopefully the fans kind of show up and show out for it. So
I imagine there will be at least some fans. And luckily, the game and game day are separated by like 7 hours.
That's
so
true.
It's like, if you want to just have fun at game day and not go to the game, that is an option.
They made it very clear in the informational email they sent out that we will be clearing Bud Walton Arena following College Game Day prior to tip-off. Like,
at noon, I'm sure I would hope you would do it for a 5 p.m. tip. It's like, geez.
Yeah, what are we talking about here? So
but yeah, by the way, if you see us at game day, we talked about this on John Neighbors. If you see us out and about, hit us up.
Come say hey, man.
We're not weird. We're not that weird. Like it's cool. But I'm looking forward to being there at Bud tomorrow.
We're one of you. You're one of us.
I like going to Bud even when the team sucks. I just like going to Bud. It's
That's
like,
a good time,
it's
man.
therapeutic.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm anxious for it. Should be good. All right, man. I think we nailed it here. Another Natty State 6-pack down.
If this didn't launch you into the weekend, I don't know what will.
Exactly. We'll be back Monday. Who knows? This is going to be there's a lot going on this weekend.
Yeah.
Monday's show might be absolutely
even more chaotic
insane.
than this one.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. All right, folks.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, we appreciate you guys. Make sure you check us out everywhere on all the socials for Natty State Sports, nattystatesports.com. We got some written content that's going up. There's a lot going on. We're in the podcast feeds now. Make sure you do everything you can do.
I believe we're on Spotify now as of
we're
this
on
morning.
Spotify now. Like it. Give us a good review. We appreciate all that stuff.
Download it, by the way.
Download it. Subscribe.
Download it.
I don't know. Like wherever you consume this stuff, give us a shout. We're trying to grow the brand, so we'd appreciate it. But on behalf of Andrew Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson, Natty State Sports, we will catch you guys on Monday. Enjoy your weekend.